Well, hello everyone. I'm Rachel Tessman from StampYourArtOut.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Andover, Minnesota in the US, and I'm here to bring you a live paper crafting class here on YouTube. It is Wednesday, May 20th, 2026, as I'm coming to you live, and we are going to have fun today. We're going to do some simple cards. Nothing too elaborate today, but these simple techniques are going to make stunning cards. You're going to be blown away by the beauty that can be done with just embossing folders and a little bit of ink. And so I hope that if you're new to my channel or new to paper crafting, that you stick around and watch to see how these are made. All right. I want to welcome Trisha Joseph. She's my moderator. She's here every Wednesday to help answer questions as the live is taking place. So if you see her name, it has like a little badge or emblem, or I don't know what you want to call it, next to it that makes her stand out from the rest of us. And you can tag her by typing the A with a circle around it. So you start typing, put that symbol in there, and then her name. And you can actually click on her name and tag her so that she can see what your question is. And just in case she's missing it, maybe you've asked it earlier in the broadcast and then she didn't catch it or something. So anyways, welcome Trisha. Thanks for being there for me. And welcome to my YouTube channel members. I appreciate your monetary support. We're going to have another live coming up next week. I believe it's Friday. So I hope that you tune in for that special live just for my supporter members of my channel. Let me think, what else? Welcome to all my subscribers. Yay. Are you guys ready? Let's go down to the desktop and let's take a peek at this special embossing folder that is fairly new. It debuted on May 5th. And this is the look that you would get. Of course, it's not going to be like a black and white look, but when we emboss paper, you're going to get this stunning 3D, like a textured look. So let's go ahead and do that on a couple pieces of cardstock. Let's go ahead and cut some cardstock first. I'm going to grab my trimmer and we're going to cut some cardstock that is 4 inches. So I'm taking my 8.5 by 11 cardstock, bringing it into the trimmer so that this edge here is right up to the 4-inch mark. Then we're going to turn it in the other direction and we're going to cut at 5.25 inches. This is going to be a layer on one of our cards that we'll do further in. In fact, I'm going to cut another one just the same size because we're going to need 2 of those. And then from my bigger piece, since we have our white in front of us, we're going to go a little bit bigger on this one. We're going to go to 4 1/8 inches, and we're going to do 2 of those. So this one's going to be 5 3/8 and 5 3/8. These are going to become layers for our first and second cards that we're going to do. We're going to need one of the smaller whites. I'm going to set aside these larger ones, but we'll grab one of the smaller whites. And I've also got some cardstock that's basic black, same size as this white. So it's 4 by 5.25. And we'll take a pause on the trimming. We'll bring in our embossing folder and let's just see the beauty of what this creates, okay? All right, for your platform, sandwich, whatever you want to call it, we're going to use the base plate, which is number 1. And then we'll take our cardstock and we'll place it into our embossing folder. I'm using this embossing folder with the Stampin' Up! Logo up and the Made in China on the back side. And we're going to go ahead and place this in here in a spot where you think you're going to get a really great amount of imagery that you want on the front. Like you can place it wherever you want, but I'm going to place it there. And we will place that onto our platform with the seam of the embossing folder going in first. I love it. You guys are telling me where you're from. It's always fun to see who's tuning in from like international like destinations compared to the US. So when you tell me you're from another country, that's always fun because we love to know who's all with us. It is 11 a.m. Central Time on Wednesday, May 20th. So as we're broadcasting live, so it's fun to see. And tell me your times too. So if you're like in Australia and you're watching, tell me what time it is. So see how gorgeous that is? It presses the paper and forms it into this beautiful floral textured design. This is one of our 3D embossing folders because it doesn't just have like one layer, I wouldn't really say layer, but one height of embossing. Like you have some that are raised up higher or lower than other sections. And you can even kind of feel like here's like petals that are higher than these petals here. It's just stunning, isn't it? Gorgeous. Gorgeous all by itself. Let's do it in white so you can see the difference between the two. So again, we'll place it in here. This is the Floral Spray embossing folder, in case I forgot to say that. Again, it's a newer one, released in May. All right. Crank it through. Thank you so much, Maggie. All right, and then check out how it looks on the white, which you might be able to see the imagery a little bit better because white is brighter, right? So there we go. Just gorgeous. Okay, we're gonna put those two aside. Now that you've seen the embossing folder by itself, you know that even just slapping that onto a card with a sentiment on the top is gonna give you a stunning image. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to put on my mic. And some people say that they can't tell the difference when I do this, but I'm still gonna do it because if I have to go to the back of the room, my mic travels with me and I don't have to yell. So hang on just a second. I'm gonna pull this plug, put this in. My gosh, Rachel, you should have like a checklist before you go live because there's always something. Oh, it is 6:10 in Norway. Awesome, love it. She wrote 18:10, but you know what I did? Randy, I have taken my phone and I have converted it to, we call it military time in the US. So I'm learning military time. I mean, you could probably figure it out, but it's becoming a little bit more connected in my brain lately. All right, now let's go ahead and make our first card. So we're gonna grab some Coastal Cabana cardstock. I wanted to make this into a sympathy card. So I chose a color that was relaxing, calming. Coastal Cabana is very relaxing to me. So I'm going to go ahead and take and cut this cardstock in half. We're going to cut it in half at 4 1/4 because this is 8.5 inches in this direction. So 4 1/4 inches. We're using the dark blade on the trimmer. When we want to score something, we use the lighter blade. There's 2 blades on the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. So now we're going to score halfway for this layer. 11 inches, half of that is 5.5 inches. So we're going to score at 5.5. Again, these are very simple cards today. I'm not doing a fun fold. I'm not doing an elaborate technique. We're not multiplying a kit. We're doing something pretty simple today. And now we have a folded piece of cardstock ready for our medium-sized basic white envelopes. Okay, I'm gonna put the extra cardstock over here, I think. All right, so now for this, I want to add a layer or 2, actually. We're gonna do 2 layers. So we're gonna bring in our bigger white ones because we're gonna do black on this one. We're gonna do the black floral spray. And so I wanna pop it with a little bit of white behind it to make it stand out. So that's where we're bringing in the 4 1/8 by 5 3/8 piece. And that's gonna go on the inside as well. Okay, so we have 2 layers of the white. And then we also need a little bit of white for a sentiment on the front. So we're gonna take a scrap of white. And as far as white goes, you guys, you could do regular white or you could do the thick white. It's up to you. I do like thicker white for like a label piece or die cut pieces that are intricate. I also like thicker white for the base of a cardstock, but for a layer, I like to use regular white. So you could use regular white for that. We're gonna bring in our basic black pad. Let's see if Rachel can open this. Okay, there we go. It's a challenging one to open. It's a newer pad. I'm still learning it. And then we're gonna take some sentiments and 2 of them from the Phrases and Frames stamp set. This is a Million Sales Achiever stamp set, Susan Campfield, who happens to be the person I signed up under 26 plus years ago. So I'm so excited for her that she's got her stamp set out. We're gonna use the Thinking of You and we're gonna use the Sending Prayers. So we've got a combination of inside and outside sentiments in this stamp set. Really beautiful font combinations in here. Just gorgeous. Now I do have to tell you that as I was making my sample cards, and I should have known this because I was told this earlier, but I let my ink sit onto my stamps And it's sort of similar to the Stays-On ink that we used to carry in that it will stain your stamps, just saying. Okay, so you will have that black ink soak into the porous, sorry, I'm blanking, photopolymer stamps. So that's clear, that's our clear material here. And so some people like to take and stamp with a Versamark ink first so that it fills those porous surfaces with a clear ink and it helps prevent staining. It's up to you. I just don't take the time for that, but usually I clean my stamps off quicker, and I did not. So I just want to warn you that they will stain. You can clean them off quickly, or you can try that Versamark trick. Okay, but staining doesn't affect the stamping ability. We're going to go ahead and stamp on here. And I don't have a re-inker for this yet, so I'm pressing a little longer to help the ink soak in. I need to get, see, I don't have enough ink on this. I need to get a re-inker for my pad. My pad didn't come completely juicy. Let's try that again. We always have two sides of the cardstock. Let's try it on this side. Oh, much clearer. Okay, we're just gonna cover that for now. Take our punch, and I'm using the 1 7/8 inch, which you can't read because it's scratched on the top. 1 7/8 inch circle punch, there it is. And you use it upside down. You can find the middle and punch. And now we have our sentiment ready to go onto our card. We're gonna do this on another card that we're making, so I'm gonna go ahead and stamp another one right now just to be prepared for that. So we'll ink, 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 ink. Stamp it down, hold it for a while. So, all right. We're getting used to this new hybrid ink pad. It is good for both watercoloring and blends markers. I'm still getting used to it too, you guys. I don't know. You kind of get spoiled with one product and then they change it up. All right, we're gonna go ahead and clean this off. I do have a damp chamois here. So I'm gonna clean that as well as I can. And yeah, it's a stained stamp, so you're gonna see a little bit of that still left over. Okay, now we're gonna take the inside sentiment. We'll do the same thing. So we have our inside layer, which is the same size as this white layer here. And we're gonna ink that up with the basic black ink. Pound, 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 pound. Linda says she stains hers on purpose. You know, the benefit to having stained stamps, which Linda might know, is that you can see your images a little bit better as you're stamping down. Sorry, I'm just trying to straighten this on the grid paper. Okay. Ink, 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 ink. Stamp it fairly straight. Okay. A long dry time. It's a little bit longer, Debbie. So I have noticed that too, that if you touch it right away, it can smear. So you want to leave this to set a little bit before you touch it. And then we're going to take the other layer that matches the same size as our embossed layer. We'll do the same thing where we'll ink it up. Yes, this is the ink pad that replaced the Memento and the Stays-On. So it's to do double duty. It's a double duty ink pad. I'm still learning the tips and tricks on it. And so for me, don't ask me too many questions yet. All right. Now we have our layer for our second card over there. Okay, we're going to close this up and clean this off. Again, a damp chamois, which is not damp enough. It already dried out on me. You know what? I'm just going to bring in the old stuff. I'm bringing out my Stampin' Mist because this is my favorite way to clean my stamps. You can also use like baby wipes or whatever, but I like the way it just kind of like gets in the grooves. So trying to shift to a chamois. You guys know that I have not been a chamois user. And that chamois, by the way, is 1/4 of the size of the full chamois. This is the full chamois size. Stampin' Chamois. And they come in different purples, but I've cut mine into quarters so that, because I don't like the staining that happens. So after one gets really dirty, I throw it away. I'm not a big fan of seeing things inked up and cleaning with them. One of these neat freaks. Okay, so now let's go ahead and bring in our layers that we need. And we're gonna do a little technique on this layer here that is super, super simple. Again, we're going simple today. We're bringing in the Whisper White, or Craft White, I think is what they call it nowadays, but it's the same thing. The Craft White ink pad. And this comes uninked, and then what you do is you take your re-inker and you soak it into there. So we're gonna use it with a blending brush. Now, this is the full-size blending brush. You can also get blending brushes in smaller sizes, the small ones. And I'm gonna grab some scrap paper just so that my surface stays cleaner. So let me pull in, well, this is kind of a dirty scrap paper. Hang on a minute. We'll get a better one. We'll grab some older grid paper. Okay, so we're gonna do some inking onto the surface of this. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see a little bit better. By the way, I do have a PDF that will be paired with this video that's gonna go with these cards that I'm showing first. And then I'm gonna show a second set of cards because this goes fairly quick. Okay, so we're going in a circular motion to get ink onto the surface of this. And then you wanna start off your paper a little bit just to kind of soften the ink. You can see that. Oh, I like that. You can see it in the camera. Okay, and then we're gonna start where we want the color to be the deepest. And usually that's under a sentiment area. In fact, maybe I could do that now. Yeah, I'm gonna start on the flower because I want that to be the deepest. And you can see, look at how it just intensifies. And now you can see the imagery. I'm gonna go over here a little bit too. This is where our sentiment's gonna sit. So you can see that look too. See how it just kind of softens, brightens, makes definition on the embossed layer. This is where our sentiment will sit. So it's gonna cover up that really, really white area. But now as I go outward, the color is gonna get softer. See how the color is getting softer? Okay, that's gonna get covered up, but look at what happens there. It makes the sentiment stand out a little bit too. Okay, we're gonna come over here because this is really where I want the ink to be the boldest, is to be on this flower here. And we're just going lightly over that image. It is taking and graying the black cardstock a bit. So there's like a white on gray look instead of a white on black look. It looks very mystical, kind of like you're in the mist, right? You're waking up on a summer morning and the mist is rising off the lake. It's very misty in appearance. And we're doing that all the way around, but we're starting where we want the color to be the brightest, and that would be where the flower is. So I want that flower to stand out the most. And then as I move away, my ink is not as intense on my blending brush. And you can re-ink, but you really wouldn't need to because you get a very, very prominent look when you're using white on black cardstock, all right? Easy, super easy. How many of you can do this? High five, yes, right? You just need the blending brush, the ink, and an embossed layer of cardstock. Again, this is gonna cover where I added kind of some intense color there, but we're gonna add that in just a minute. So now, another thing that we can do, and you can do it after you've made the whole card, or you can do it at this step, but there's something called Wink of Stella, and this is the other coloring technique. So 2 coloring techniques, super simple, blending ink onto an embossed layer, and also adding sparkle with the Wink of Stella brush. So you take your Wink of Stella, take the cap off, make sure that it's already coming out of the tip of the Wink of Stella, because when you first get it, you kind of have to do some priming. You're pushing on things, you're moving the ink through to the tip. But then you can take and tap, and boy, can you see it on black cardstock. I don't know if you can see it right now, but we are raining shimmer onto this layer here. And I'm gonna hold it up, and then I'm gonna tip it. You can definitely see it on darker cardstock. This is just amazing. All that sparkle is now going to dry on that layer, and we're gonna have a shimmery, soft, misty look for our sympathy card. Now you can make other cards. You don't have to make a sympathy card. It could be thinking of you, and it could be an anniversary card. You could do have a fabulous day. May your day be filled with love and happiness. Maybe it's a wedding card. Maybe it's a birthday card. Happiest birthday wishes. I love this. I didn't forget your birthday, just wanted it to last longer. So for a belated card. But yeah, I'm gonna set that over there, and now we're gonna start layering everything. I'm gonna close up my white because I don't need it for the next card. But let's go ahead and start layering everything. Move this inked up paper out of the way. Grab our bone folder, give that a good crease. Okay, and then we check, where's the front? The front is gonna be where you, actually this is pretty even. If you see two edges, that's gonna be your back. The front is where you don't see the two edges. This layer is gonna go on next. And you can put on a layer that's flat with just seal adhesive if you want to. My embossed layer, I think I'm gonna put on with glue. I did my other ones with seal adhesive, but embossed layers have dips and grooves in them, right? So it might be better to use your multi-purpose liquid glue. So let's open this up, tap it down, open that up, and let's go on the back side to give a nice outline. And then once you have a fairly thin outline, you want to use thin amount of glue on the outline, then you can go a little bit crazy on the inside. Because that's not going to seep out. It's the ones that are closest to the edge that you want to be really careful with and make sure that those are thin lines of glue. And now when this bonds to it, it's going to bond super tight. The thing I love about the glue is it bonds very permanently. You're tearing cardstock if you have to peel a layer up, but it also works with embossed layers nicely. Tape, you can oftentimes shimmy and work with it and peel up a layer. Okay, so you could put the glue under the white layer too. And then on the inside of the card, we'll add our white layer here. I'm using seal because again, it's quicker and it's what I'm used to also. I love using seal. And then our sentiment, we can put on with what's called dimensionals. And these are amazing little foam adhesive pieces that are about 1/16 of an inch tall. They're not very tall at all, but they just give that a little amount of shadow and just make things really look great. When you add this, you're looking at your words to make sure that they are running parallel to the top and bottom edges of your card. And then the next thing that we'll need is our embellishments. I'm bringing in two different sets of embellishments. There's actually going to be 3 that I feature today, but these 2 are beautiful colors. We have Coastal Cabana. Let me tell you the name of this. Pearlized Faceted Circles. 2 different sizes in Coastal Cabana, Petal Pink, and then a white color, but they're all iridescent-y. So they kind of all have a slight pinkish, almost like there's a purple in there too when you turn the white one, or even blues. You can see some blues in there. We're gonna use the other embellishments for this card, but this one we'll use for the second card. And this one is a newer set of embellishments called Shimmery Dots. Also 2 different sizes. Here's the small, here's the larger ones. We have Coastal Cabana, we have Granny Apple Green, and we have white. And again, iridescent-y kind of flaking, flecks of color, I should say, not flaking, but flecks of color in there. So you can see lots of different colors kind of radiate in the white. But for this one, because we have a Coastal Cabana base, we're gonna use the Coastal Cabana little dots. And I'm gonna grab about 5 of them. Odd numbers look good on a card. So we'll stick one up here where it's a little blank. In fact, I like to put a couple of them really close to each other. And then I like to put another one further away. Okay, so you have a cluster of 3. But if you want to have a little bit more embellishing, you could stick another one there and maybe another one down here. Okay, so our card is complete. We have thinking of you, sending prayers and heartfelt sympathy to your family. I chose sympathy today, not to make anybody depressed, but I haven't done a sympathy card in a long time, and I found out this past weekend that I needed a few more sympathy cards. So there we have one, and then I'm going to show you, I'm not going to demonstrate this one, but I'm going to show you this one, and then we'll demonstrate the third one. So this card here is using Petal Pink as the base cardstock. So that's when I brought in these embellishments, the middle color or the light pink color. So I used those along here, did everything else the same. Okay, it's the black cardstock, it's the white ink, there's Wink of Stella on there, which you can see so nicely on black cardstock. I love that. Can you see the sparkle in there? And then there's the white layer on the inside and between. And I'm making the white layer the same size on each of these 2 cards, but on this third card that we're gonna come to, Remember, we embossed the white layer, and this is our smallest layer, the 4 by 5 1/4. So I made the inside layer smaller than I did on the last two cards, just so that it would pair up visually with the same size white on the front of the card. So now instead of using the white ink and blending brush, we're going to bring in a new color. This new color is called Crisp Cantaloupe, and I want to show off our new magnetic ink pads. They are lovely. They open up like this, and they're literally like magnets to each other. It's so nice. So we're going to use the blending brush that I've paired with that one, which happens to be a smaller blending brush. Let's bring in that scrap paper again, and we're going to do a little bit of inking on this piece. And for this one, because the blending brush is smaller, the curvature on the top or the bottom of the brush is a little bit more intense than you would have on this one. Okay, the angle of the curvature is a little bit more intense. So you want to go a little lighter when you're blending. Otherwise, you're going to get down into the grooves more than you maybe want to. There are blending brush type tools out there that have a completely flat surface if you only want your ink color to sit on top of the raised surfaces. Stampin' Up! Does not sell those, but I just wanted to point that out, that if you only want to hit the top and you don't want to have any of the ink go down and whiten the base portions where like the black got a little lighter looking, you could use something like that. Okay, so now we're going to take and start with that flower again. And we're lightly blending, intensifying the look of that flower. Isn't that pretty, you guys? So again, with white cardstock, any cardstock, I could even see this being done with like crumb cake and white. Oh my gosh, that would be so pretty. So we're intensifying the imagery by just adding some blended ink on top. Ink with the blending brush, I should say. It's not blended ink, it's ink with the blending brush. And I'm going on top of each little layer kind of individually, but very lightly because I have a very light color. If I had a darker color, I would probably remove some of the color on the side here like I did with the white, because that can get pretty intense if you're adding it directly. But this is a fairly light color. Crisp Cantaloupe, by the way, is a color, if you recognize the name, it's a color that has been around but then disappeared for a while, and it's back. It's a returning color, so that's kind of fun, and it just returned this May 5th. We had a whole bunch of new products debut on May 5th. This embossing folder, a whole line of in colors called the 2026 through 28 in colors, and that includes the Crisp Cantaloupe. Oh gosh, we had stamp sets like the phrases and frames we're using. It had lots of things in that debut. So you'll want to go to the online store. If you are not familiar, this is my website, stampyourartout.com. And there you can find everything you need. It's like a little resource place to go to. You can find, buttons for shopping and all that stuff. Links to, you can even see this photos of the projects I'm sharing today. You're gonna be able to see those in there. Okay, so now we've got our color added to it, nice and soft. If you wanted to get super artsy, you could also like make the leaves green and the flowers a certain color. Like you could get very colorful if you wanted to, but I just wanted a light spray of color on there. And then again, we can add our sentiment here. And I think I'm gonna go a little bit more with this so that my sentiment pops a bit more. Yeah, on my website, you can find blog posts, you can find links to resources of all kinds that you might be looking for. So I highly recommend that you subscribe. All right, that looks pretty good. Now let's go ahead and layer. For the layer that we're gonna make this card stand out on, we're gonna use Calypso Coral. So I wanted a contrast there. So this is Calypso Coral cardstock, which is a fantastic pair with Crisp Cantaloupe. Oh, here's my color. And then we need to cut a base. We'll do that quickly. 4 1/4. This is Crisp Cantaloupe cardstock. 4 1/4 by 5, scored at 5 1/2. So 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. And we'll use our bone folder to give it a good crease. I think I want to go a little deeper with my color. I don't feel like I got it deep enough. Hang on. I'm looking at my other card off to the side here. If you guys notice me looking over there, it's because I'm peeking to see what I did on my original card. Just want this to pop a little bit more. Okay. And in through there. It's a light color, so it takes a little bit more layering to get it to work. Okay, and I'm gonna put this over, where is it? Here. I'm gonna put that on that pile because that's gonna work with our second set of cards too. All right, same thing, where I recommend that you do the gluing for your emboss layer just because of the ups and downs and the grooves. You do a light little line of glue around the edges, and then you can go crazy in the middle. Not too crazy, but you know what I mean, like you don't have to be as careful. We'll layer this onto our Calypso Coral to make it pop. And when I say pop, I mean there's a good contrast, dark and light. And then we'll use 4 little sections of tape, maybe one in the middle, with our seal adhesive. That's the back. And we'll layer that on here. So this has a softer, more springtime feel to it. Not as deep and dark, not as misty, mysterious, right? A little sweeter look. Softer look. And then again, dimensionals on the back side of this piece. You could use whatever circle punch you want. You could even just cut out a square. You don't have to have punches in order to make a little sentiment piece. So a square would do just fine, or a little banner coming in. So there's that same basic layout, but just different colors. All right, let's add our embellishments. We'll do the same thing. So we've got, and we're gonna go with Calypso Coral on this card. Calypso Coral instead of the pink, which we had on the second card that I just shared. So let's stick those through here. And then we'll do another large one about here and a small one right about there. Okay, so there is that finished card. Oh, and I didn't do Wink of Stella. So here's a perfect example. You can do your Wink of Stella after the fact if you want to. And I'm not sure how well you're gonna be able to see the Wink of Stella in the camera. Let me hold it up here. Yeah, I can see it, but you might not be able to because it is super light on, so light on light cardstock sometimes is hard to see, but it's there and it's all over and it's very stunning in person. I have to tell you, it was really hard to photograph these cards for the blog post. So when you see the blog post, when it goes live soon after this video is done, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, it's really hard to see in the photograph. So that's why it's always good to watch the video. Okay, so far we have these 3 cards. And now let me show you the next one. So I have 2 more examples. Let me zoom out a bit here. This is another example, and I really love this in that not intense with the color on the embossing, but just put a haze of color underneath where my sentiment piece would stand out. Or be on, so that this stands out, but yet it's not super colored, right? It's just a light coloring behind the sentiment, but nothing over here. I still have that Wink of Stella on there, not sure if you can see it. And then here we use the green embellishments from this pack. On the inside, same thing. The base is Granny Apple Green. This layer is Lemon Lime Twist. It's a beautiful light green, and that's the same green that I used for my blending brush. I used Lemon Lime Twist because I wanted more of a yellowish glow. All right. Then on the last card, I did some coloring of my embellishments. I took my darker of my 2 blends markers that are Fresh Freesia, and I colored a few of these white ones just to give them a little bit of a purple glow. And that last card looks like this. So I did the same thing that I did with this one, where I just colored the haze underneath the sentiment area. This time my sentiment is stamped on Fresh Freesia instead of basic white, as I have basic white for the base of my card, no layer needed on the inside, and then this is layered onto Fresh Freesia. These were the last 2 cards that I made, and I actually feel like those are my favorites. Although I'm really liking this blue one too, but just saying, you know, pick your favorite, go with the steps that you think would be the best for making your version. You could use different embossing folders. If they're 3D though, they're really gonna pop and you know, you're gonna see such depth in your designs. Okay. Oh, thank you so much, Kathy. Okay, so we're gonna set some things aside. I'm gonna bring in another set of cards, but first we're going to introduce some ink pads to you. So remember I was telling you about this ink pad being new, it's magnetic. Here's the set of 5. So you can get all 5 colors for $63 US. And you get a little bit of savings when you buy them all together. These are the new in colors. They're all magnetic ink pads. And next May, we're gonna see all of the colors turn into this style ink pad. Much easier ergonomically. The older ink pads, you have to kind of pop up, slide into the base. They sometimes take a little bit of work to manipulate to get them going in the beginning, but this is easy. Just pop it open, close it shut. So you're gonna love these. If you haven't gotten one yet, you may wanna add that to your wish list. Okay, let's move these cards out of the way. Let's bring in some paper. Let's do that next. Okay, so I don't have a lot of this left because I've been using it up, but this is the Bloom Boutique designer paper. Really, really pretty paper. It is specialty paper, so there's like a golden little reflection on the layers on one side. You can see little things glowing and shining, right? And then on the back side, you still have pretty designs, but they're not shiny. They're not specialty paper on the flip side. Bolder colors. And these colors are the new in colors. We have Hydrangea Hue, which is the blue. We have Crisp Cantaloupe, which you just saw. We have Peaceful Pine. And then we have Golden Glow. And we have Barely Blush, which is the background of this card and the background of this card. The very, very light pink in this flower. So I took these 2 papers here and I did some cutting. I'm gonna do that with this paper so you can see the technique I used. We're gonna take and cut a 6x6 piece. So 6 inches by 6 inches. We're gonna flip it over. Use a ruler and a pencil. Forgot to list that in the measurements, but you know, all crafters need rulers and pencils. We're gonna make a little mark here at 2 inches. And we're gonna make a mark down here at 2 inches. And then we're gonna make a mark over here at 2 inches. So we're going 2 inches from the left, if you're looking at the top of it, on all 4 edges. 2 inches to the left, 4 inches to the right. Okay, so mark 2, 2, 2, and 2. And you can change it up. You don't have to be doing 2 inches. You could do 1.5. You could do 2.5. You know, it's up to you. Or you could just freehand it. But I'm going to go ahead and draw lines. This is the back side, so you won't see this. I'm going to draw lines to help me for when I'm cutting. Okay, so it's just a guide. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to grab our trimmer and we're going to lay this in our trimmer so that our line is going through the channel of the trimmer. There we go. Got it lined up, and now we can go ahead and slice. Once you make that first cut, then the rest of the cuts you don't really have to follow the line per se, but it helps get you started. So you put it in here and you want to make sure it's flush to the top. If your line is a little off, you don't want to follow the line. You instead want to follow this edge and make sure that you're cutting approximately at that point, which is 3 inches, by the way. That's a 3-inch little mark right there if you want to measure it. So we're going to cut. We're going to keep those together. Cut this. Same thing. Put the straight edge up against. Cut. Flip that around. Stick that over here. Okay. Why am I keeping the puzzle piece together? Just for show. Okay, I'm going to flip it all over so you can see how the puzzle comes together. I've done these cards before, years ago, but I'm getting back to them because I just saw somebody recently post a card using this technique. So then you take and you separate these pieces out and you add them each to a different card, and you can add them in different ways. Let's go ahead and bring in a different piece that I've already cut. So this one here is cut to that same style. We're going to add some seal adhesive to the back side. I better zoom in. We're far away. Add some seal adhesive to the back side. And we're going to, and I'm just going to check. Always got to look at your things that you did beforehand. I'm going to go up to, but not right at the edge of our Coastal Cabana 4x4 layer here. So this piece is 4x4. Did I say Coastal Cabana? Sorry, crisp cantaloupe. And then here is the layer on top of that, about a 1/16 of an inch away from the top and the left edges. This is going to get added to the front of my basic white card base. And my basic white card base, I have another one. My basic white card base is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2, just like our other cards that we just did. So again, if you're a beginning crafter, you don't have to memorize too many measurements. We're going to add this to the top. So we have about an 1/8 of an inch of white showing on the edges here. Then we're going to grab some ribbon, and I'm going to grab some coordinating ribbon. We're going to wrap it from the inside. We're going to measure just by sight. Let me take and trim that. So this piece is about, and I'll just measure it on my grid paper here, about 16 inches, okay? All right, now we're gonna stamp. I'm bringing in another stamp set called Paradise Garden. And Paradise Garden is, when did this one come around? Maybe this one's new too. I can't remember. Anyways, it's gorgeous. There's an embossing folder and some dies that coordinate with it, but really, really pretty imagery. I already have the stamps mounted for this too, I believe. Yes, I do. Bring those over. They're on my C and D blocks. I think this is a C. Yeah, I'm using C and D today. Okay, now we're gonna stamp, where is that piece? Okay, it looks like we need to cut a little strip, and we cut it from, did we cut it from this one? Let's do some paper saving, Rachel. Will we have enough? I don't know. Yeah, that should be enough. Okay, we're gonna stamp down here with our sentiment in that black ink, which I forgot I have to use again. Okay, Rachel, can you open it? Oh, I did. It's a hard pad to open, I just wanna say. There are some people sharing tips and tricks for that, but I haven't really watched yet. Okay, stamp that down onto a skinny white strip that's about, well, a little over 1/2 inch tall. Okay, you need 1/2 inch in order for this to punch right. We're gonna use a different punch. This is the, I don't know, 3 banner? I forget what it's called, but it has banner in the name. You can look in the description of the video. All the names of the products are right there. Okay, and then we'll punch. And we have our sentiment piece. We also have another stamp to use, and we're gonna do that for the inside or the outside down here. So we're gonna stamp Crisp Cantaloupe, a little leaf from that stamp set. We're gonna stamp that in the lower right-hand corner. Down here, lower left hand. Did I say right hand? Lower left hand. And it's just kind of bringing in some of that leaf imagery, but down here, and it's enhancing the fact that the inks are so cool. They coordinate with the paper, they coordinate with the ribbon, they coordinate with designer paper, they coordinate with embellishments, blends, markers, ink refills. Oh gosh, there's so many things. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and tie a little knot here. And then I'm gonna shift my paper by curving it, shifting it where I want it to go, grabbing a glue dot, and we'll just take and expose one of these guys here, lift it with the take your pick tool or scissors or your fingers, and I'm gonna aim that underneath the knot and press my knot in place. So now that won't move, especially now that it's down at the bottom of my card. I didn't want it to move on me. And then we'll trim up the ends, do little angle cuts here. Cards coming together. So pretty. We're gonna add this with dimensionals. Got 2 different card styles, 10 cards, you guys. We're doing 10 cards today, but 2 different card styles, and I'm demonstrating 3 out of the 10, but they are all consistent. They're all pretty much the same look. We're gonna put that down here. I wanna angle this a little bit more. I want my ribbon to be a little further down. There we go, more white exposed this way. Sometimes you just have to kind of shimmy things, right? Okay, and then we have embellishments. I was telling you they have embellishments in the in colors, and so we're gonna open up our already opened pack. I think I'll use this one. And we're gonna add, with the other end of our Take Your Pick tool, we will add a large one in this, I think over down here, like that. One there, and then we'll do one in the upper corner. And I think, is that removable? There's a little something there. So we're just gonna go like this. You guys ever do that where you have a little mark on your cardstock? Just cover it up with an embellishment. There, it's gone. All right, those ribbons, by the way, do come in all of the 5 colors. The cardstock you can get in all of the 5 colors. That designer paper matches great. It's just goodness all around. I love it. Let me bring in the samples now. So we're gonna spread, oh, and this one, sorry. I didn't do this on my other 4 cards, my 4 finished cards, but I intend to do so. So we'll go ahead and stamp this. That looks uneven, hang on. Oh, thanks, Trisha. Yeah, I forget to mention Instagram. I don't do a lot on Instagram, but I appreciate you mentioning that. I post every once in a while, but it's not something I'm not very good at Instagram. Okay, we're gonna open this up and ink up our thank you. And we can stamp that on the inside of our card. So now we have a "You Are Appreciated" thank you card. Isn't that fun? Using all of those in colors. And then let's go ahead and set this up. So we have this one, which I'm going to turn this way. And then we have this one, because that connects to that other piece. And then we have this one. And then we have this one. So there's how the paper originally looked. And that's how I came up with those 2 card designs. Let me take these away so I could make a couple more cards with that. But you see, I did a little something different on each one. I brought the fold is at the bottom here, but this portion is at the bottom, this portion is at the top. I flip-flopped, all right? So that's 2 of the colors, because I see the Peaceful Pine and the Crisp Cantaloupe. There's also Petal Pink in here, but it was kind of like, because it's a background color, it didn't stand out enough against the Petal Pink cardstock. But let me show you the other 3 in colors. So we will take and lay this one down, this one down. I think this one goes this way. Oh, I might have forgotten how they connect, but I think this is it. I think this is it. There we go. That's how those papers connected. Let me zoom out. So another 6x6 piece. We'll pull this aside and let's take a peek at those 3 cards. They are all 3 different as well, in that even though one is at the top and 2 are at the bottom, these 2 are positioned differently. Here I made my angled paper go on the bottom, and here I made it go on the top. So all together we have the in color cards, and I'll zoom out even more so you can see even better. I hope you were inspired by these 2 simple ideas today. If you like these ink pads, by the way, Stampin' Up! Is giving them away for free with the starter kit in the month of May. If you are interested in getting $63 in value of ink pads for free, get the starter kit, and then you can become a discount shopper. You can get things early. You can pre-order, get products earlier than the rest of us, and all that stuff. So it's pretty darn fun. I'm gonna go ahead and bring out the other cards here too. There's links for joining Stampin' Up! In the description of my video. You can also go to my blog post and you can click, or my blog, and you can click on the drop-down menu that says join the fun. Okay, so, oops, I'm gonna go this way instead because they don't really show. There we go, that's better. So we did 10 cards today, you guys. And I was late. Starter kit, mentioned that already. Members, if you want to become a member of my channel, there is a link in the description. You can subscribe for free, but if you want to become a member, you're supporting my channel monetarily, and I appreciate that. Those people that pay at the $5.99 per month level get an extra video per month. There's also some other perks. If you click on the membership information, it'll tell you about the perks. You can also support my channel for just under $1 a month, and there's other perks with that too. So upcoming lives, there's a link to my calendar in the video description also. If you click on that link, it's going to take you to my calendar that everybody can see. It shows when my lives are going to be. The next live that I'm going to do is Friday morning, and we hopefully will be I will hopefully have created with the paper pumpkin kit that landed in my mailbox on Monday night. Actually, Monday night. So I haven't had time to create with it yet. I went away this weekend. In fact, since the last live on Wednesday of last week, I have been in vacation mode. We had my friend Alana Worf from Canada, from Winnipeg. She came through the cities. Here I live in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, and they came for a concert, her and her family. And so I said, come stay at our house. So they stayed 2 nights at our house. We did the Mall of America. We had meals together. We had breakfast. It was just so much fun. So I was in vacation mode from Wednesday after the live through Friday morning with them. And then my sister and my friend Nuala came and picked me up, and we drove to Fargo, North Dakota to connect with, 5 other girlfriends, and we stayed in an Airbnb. And then we surprised my longtime friend from childhood, Bethany, who lives in Fargo and has a thriving photography business that celebrates women. And she hosts, and this is her last one that just happened, but she hosts an event called the Goddess Gala, and there's always a dress-up theme. So we came as fairies. And I have a picture that I'll have in my blog post, so you'll want to visit my blog post. If not for the PDF that I forgot to share with you, I'm going to pull that up right now. If not for the PDF that's paired with this video, and then photographs of the cards and all of that kind of stuff. But you'll also, here's the PDF. You'll have access to this. It's a little quick reference thing. But you'll also be able to see a couple photos from the vacation that I had this weekend. It was so much fun surprising her, you guys. She had no clue we were coming. We were signed up under a totally incognito name for our table, and we had such a blast. And yeah, it was amazing. So I'm catching up. If you emailed me, texted me, or anything like that in the past week, I'm still trying to play catch up, so forgive me. Normally I can check all my notifications a little sooner, but I've been checked out, I guess is what you can say. So I hope that you had and I have to tell you, my son from California, the one that lives out there, my other son went to be with him with a couple of friends. So he was vacationing. My 2 boys were vacationing together with a couple other guys, and they were gone for the whole past week. Nick came home on Monday evening. So it's just been fun around here. And we are now just trying to catch up, and it's been a blast. So thank you so much for supporting my channel, for being with me, for hanging out with me today. And I will see you on Friday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for my first set of alternates with what kit would this be? The May kit. The May 2026 Paper Pumpkin Kit. If you're a Paper Pumpkin fan, come join me. If you're not into Paper Pumpkin and you don't know what it's about, join me anyways, because I always show lots of projects with that too. And I hope that you come back. Thank you, Trisha. Thank you, members. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, everybody, for being with me today. And now I'd like you all to go and stamp your art out. Bye-bye, everyone.